There's a devil crawling along your floor. There's a devil crawling along your floor. With a trembling heart he's come through the door. There's strain and sex and his jumping pole. Oh yeah, there's a devil crawling along your floor. And he's old and he's stupid and he's hungry and he's sore and he's lame and he's blind and he's dirty and he's poor. Give him more, 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 give him more. There's the devil crawling along your floor. There's a devil lying by your side. You might think he's asleep, look at his eyes. He wants you, baby, to be his bride. There's a devil lying by your side. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. 'Cause I belong to somebody. I feel like a morning star. 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 Oh, shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. 'Cause I belong to somebody. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Shoo fly, don't bother me. 'Cause I belong to somebody.
You're listening to the groovy sound of KUHS LP, Community Radio, Hot Springs. Yeah.
Tune in to Strange Things with Rick and Justin Saturday mornings from 7 to 8:30. We're going to talk about local legends, lore, ghost phenomenon, and paranormal, and a little bit of history. Don't miss it or we will haunt you.
KUHS programming is supported by the Wine Rack and Spirits Shop. Located at 1910 Albert Pike, the Wine Rack and Spirits Shop opens at 9 a.m. every day but Sunday and has been reviewed on the internet. Seller of craft and normal beer, malt liquor, wine, fortified wine, and spirits. The Wine Rack and Spirits Shop can be reached at 501-624-2080 for information on sales and floor specials. Thanks, Wine Rack and Spirits Shop, for supporting KUHS.
You're listening to KUHS LP Hot Springs Solar Power Community Radio.
And a good afternoon, Hot Springs listeners online or on 97.9. This is Vaporwaves with Justin. I'm Justin, the host with the most. We are on a little late today. We're 4:30 to 6 p.m. We're normally on the air from 4 to 6. We had documentary filmmaker John Atlas on the air from 4 to about 4:20. Well, that wasn't a coincidence, actually. That was, but that's okay. But he was on the air for about 20 minutes discussing his new film, which will be on Thursday at the Arlington at the Documentary Film Festival. Check it out. And we thank you for listening. We're on the air. We're live. And this is really not a different show because we're going to play Vaporwaves today, but we got a bit of a twist. So I was digging a couple weeks ago. Had an uncle that passed away, and he never let us in his attic, ever. He never let us in his attic. There was always cool stuff up there, and I remember as a kid I used to get to go up there a lot, but the attic was off limits. It was forbidden, so I wasn't allowed to go up there. Well, he passed away recently. I'm not laughing at the fact that he passed away. It's kind of an inside joke within the family that we weren't allowed up in this attic. Anyway, he had some cassettes, as he would say, and cassettes, that's how he pronounced it, cassettes. Well, he had these cassettes and didn't know he was into Vaporwaves. I'll let you listen. This is Vaporwaves with Justin.
No other brand has
もう一人の私を
price $952.
銀座ジュア浴中で巻き男には
This was a Japanese language.
Welcome to Home Box Office Subscription Television, bringing you great movies, sports events, and special programs, unedited and commercial-free. It's good to have you with us.
Vaporwaves with Justin, 97.9 FM. If you're just tuning in, I got to go in my recently deceased uncle's attic, and he had some cassettes, and anyway, he liked Vaporwave music. I didn't realize it, so you're getting to listen to some of his cassette audio tapes. Vaporwaves with Justin. Vaporwaves with Justin, 97.9 FM. Thank you for listening live on TuneIn Radio or KUHSradio.org or the old school way, the FM dial, 97.9. If you got something you want to hear or want to shout it on the air, give us a call, 501-627-0711. Vaporwaves with Justin. You're listening to my uncle's mixtapes on Vaporwaves with Justin. He passed away recently, and I got to go in his attic, which was off limits for years. Didn't realize that he liked Vaporwaves music. 97.9 FM. He had a weird taste in music, that's for sure. That is my uncle's mixtapes that I discovered in his, until recently, off-limit attic. You're listening to Vaporwaves with Justin on 97.9 KUHS, solar-powered community radio. We're handmade too, by the way. This is Sydney by Roman. We do like Roman on KUHS radio. That is Sydney by Roman. And that infomercial 1980s mall music. That was really cool. This is also really cool. I found, and I always love some comic relief. You know I do. We always do funny bits and funny stories. But discovered this in the abyss of YouTube whenever I get bored and have nothing else to do. I get on YouTube and I watch a lot of videos and discovered this one. Well, this is Michael Jackson about 21 years ago yelling at his engineer through song. Check it out. I'll give you another listen. Brad, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? He's singing while getting onto his engineer. I guess there was a bit of a flub. I just thought that was kind of funny because I've never seen Michael Jackson get mad. Nobody's ever talked about that. Michael Jackson has anger problems. Michael Jackson beats his handler. You never hear anything about that. You never heard anything about that because he's deceased. But yeah. Never heard Michael Jackson or seen him angry until that bit right there. This is Lonely Eyes by 18 Karat Affair. One of my new favorite Vaporwaves tracks. You're listening to Vaporwaves with Justin, KUHS. We got time for one more song before hour number 2 begins. Actually, minute 30, because we got on a little late today. This is Jan Hammer, not Jan Hammer, Jan Hammer. Crockett's theme. If you watch Miami Vice in the 80s or know what it is, this is a song from that show. Enjoy.
Fire truck.
Superior Bathhouse Brewery.
Vaporwaves with Justin. We'll be right back.
Fire truck.
Superior Bathhouse Brewery supports KUHS. Located on historic Bathhouse Row, Superior Brewery is open 7 days for lunch and dinner. Now booking the Grand Hall for private events and distributing beer. Visit Superior Bathhouse Brewery on Facebook for new beers and to see if they're at your favorite watering hole around Arkansas.
Fire truck.
This is Mary Nielsen with Visit Hot Springs. You're listening to KUHS LP Hot Springs, Arkansas, solar-powered community radio, 97.9.
Hour number 2 of Vaporwaves, actually the second half hour of the first hour of Vaporwaves. We got on the air a little late today, but that's okay. Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival is in town at the Arlington Hotel and Resort, right down the street here from KUHS Radio. Had John Atlas here. He was promoting his new movie, which the man knows a lot about his Arkansas history. He's from Montclair, New Jersey, so hope you enjoyed listening to him, and you should check his movie out tomorrow at the Arlington. And we love the sound of that arrogance. That means that it's 5 o'clock. Go ahead and cut the music, producer. Thank you so much. So we're going to do something a little different. The first 30 minutes of the show was dedicated to not... You're going to think I sound cold and heartless, but this last 30-minute segment was dedicated not to the life of my recently deceased uncle. It's not funny. I know it's not funny. But the fact that his attic was off limits for so many years growing up, we weren't allowed in it. And we got to dust off some of his old mixtapes. So we got to do that. That was interesting. Well, for the next hour, you'll hear various odd news stories, probably out of Florida, most likely. But we're going to highlight one-hit wonders from the late 80s, early 90s. And they may be some you've heard, they may be some you've never heard, but I will tell you one thing, the one-hit wonders that we're going to highlight today, they're decent songs. I feel like they are. They're not the same tired hat that you've heard on the VH1 countdowns of 100 greatest one-hit wonders. It's not one of those shows. It's just a obscure one-hit wonder kind of a show. Now, you've heard of Milli Vanilli. I know you have. Interesting backstory about Milli Vanilli, and then I'll get on to the next song that I'm about to play. And no, I'm not going to play Girl You Know It's True because everybody knows that song. I wouldn't really consider Milli Vanilli a one-hit wonder band, but they were like a 3-hit wonder band. And anyway, Milli Vanilli, they consisted of these models from Germany who were the figureheads of this group, these basically session musicians who had been in the music industry for 30 years. I mean, they were in their late 40s, early 50s at the time that Milli Vanilli hit the scene. So they weren't marketable, but their voices were, because they were damn good musicians playing really good music. They just couldn't market themselves. The record labels wouldn't market them because they were middle-aged people who were overweight. And nothing against overweight middle-aged people. It's just they would rather sell albums with German models. So here comes Milli Vanilli, and then the rest is history. And then you all heard or remember the girl you know, it's girl you know, it's girl you know, it's girl you know. It's when the tape got jammed up and they were performing live on TV. That wasn't good. And in fact, so traumatic that one of the guys even committed suicide, which that's not fun. But we're going to play this song. This is by Milli Vanilli, KUHS Radio.
With me.
Wow, that was Milli Vanilli with All or Nothing, which, if you heard the little monologue prior to that song, there were two German models who fronted a band that consisted of middle-aged musicians who couldn't be marketed by the music label, the record label that backed them. Just a weird situation, and the truth always comes to light in those situations, and in any situation for that matter. But anyway, that's that, and we had fun with that one. So what's another good one-hit wonder that I don't know. What's another good one that haven't heard of in years? I don't know. Trying to think here. Anybody know any good one-hit wonders? 501-627-0711. We're on Vaporwaves with Justin. We're just doing something a little different today. So let's go ahead and play. Well, we had it. Where'd it go? Okay, so we had it and then we lost it. We had copyright infringement on that one, so we couldn't play that song, man. Here's another one-hit wonder from the 80s. Actually, not from the late 80s, but it's from the early 80s. Fun fact for you millennials like me who already know this, but maybe for the people that don't or haven't lived in Hot Springs long enough to remember, the Garland County Courthouse, right down the street here from KUHS Radio on Washita Avenue, used to be Good Time Charlie's, a nightclub, popular destination for young single folks in the 80s and 90s. Well, They used to jam to this track in the late 80s. At least I think they did. I never hung out there. But this is another one-hit wonder from the late 80s. They played it in clubs everywhere. Let's pump up the volume.
Pump up the volume. Pump up the volume. volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. When the drum beats go like this. Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance.
Mars needs women.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance, dance. That's Mars with two R's. It's from 1987. And we are KUHS LP Hot Springs 2017 Solar Powered Community Radio 97.9 FM. We're doing a bit of a different vibe today. You know, we did the mixtapes earlier. And we're just doing obscure 80s one-hit wonders. And you've heard a few so far. Here's another one. Even though it's, believe it or not, doesn't sound like it's from the 80s, it is from the year 1980, so it is from the 80s. And this is a cool one. This is Steal Away by Robbie Dupree. Someone should do a Vaporwaves cover of this song, just saying.
Come on and hold me, just like you told
That song can be frequently heard on Yacht Rock on satellite radio near you, but you're getting it on solar-powered community radio, KUHS. I'm Justin. This is Vaporwaves with Justin. It's 5:24. We have about 30 minutes before Eloise and Mandala Sound hits the airwaves. So we thank you for listening. This is a 1980s one-hit wonder edition of Vaporwaves with Justin. One of my favorite one-hit wonders from the 80s. We've even played it on the show quite a few times before. Shattered Dreams, Johnny Hates Jazz. One-hit wonder edition of Vaporwaves with Justin continues after these messages.
Howdy. Tune in Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. Central here at KUHS LP Hot Springs 97.9 FM with your host, DJ Train Days, where I highlight
KUHS.
Not really a one-hit wonder artist. He had a few hits, but this one really wasn't in the well-known rotation of this artist. But one of my favorites. We've even played it on the Saturday show that I appear on, Strange Things. It's Joe Jackson. You can't get what you want until you know what you want. One of my favorite songs. Vaporwaves with Justin.
Sometimes you start feeling so lost and lonely.
that all you need is one thing. If it's right, you could sleep at night. But it can take some time. But at least I'm here alive. So tell you one thing, you can get what you want till you know what you want. Said you can't get what you want till you know what you want. Tell you one thing, you can't get what you want. What you want.
So far, but we're not out yet.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Pure energy. Pure energy.
all the good one-hit wonders saved their talent for that one song. And that's probably why they're one-hit wonders. Now, I don't think it's that. I just think that they get pigeonholed into a certain song, and that was no exception right there. That was Obsession by Animotion, a one-hit wonder from 1985. You heard a few various others prior to that, and we do thank you for listening to Vaporwaves with Justin. I'm Justin, as you can imagine. We are on the air every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Coming up after me, we have Eloise with the Mandala of Sound. After her, we have DJ Mabs with her 90s stuff, and that's from 8 to 10. And then, of course, you always have the greatest show you'll never see. They always bring it, and man, they are edgy, and that's for sure. Definitely want to put the kiddos to bed before you listen to them. They're a good show, though, but just saying, that's all. But KUHS, we're a broad variety of different genres and different personalities, and that's what makes KUHS handmade community radio. And I'll stop my tangent right there. Really interesting news story, and you know Vaporwaves, we always like to do the interesting news stories here. This is very interesting, and this is to all the gold miners out there. Rick, if you're listening, this is right up your alley. $2 million worth of gold flushes through Swiss sewers each year. This is according to scientists who reported that about millions of dollars worth of gold and silver float through Switzerland's sewer systems every year. A study by environmental chemist Ewag discovered 1.5 million francs worth of gold and silver. Each are lost through sludge from wastewater treatment plants, in addition to rare earth metals such as gadolinium and the heavy metal niobium. Trace elements are increasingly widely used in the high-tech and medical sectors. For example, the transition metal tantalum and the cinemetal germanium in electronic components. I don't know a lot of these metals, and hopefully most of you don't either, but neither here nor there. Anyway, a lot of gold and silver is flushed through the sewers in Sweden. That's a really interesting story. And also, a Minnesota gardener grows the world's largest carrot. A gardener in Minnesota set a massive record by growing the world's largest carrot in his second attempt. Chris Qualley earned a spot in the Guinness World Record books with a massive 22.5-pound carrot grown at his farm. He said he's relatively new to the hobby, and his strategy was to imitate what all the experienced growers across the world were doing. He said he went and continued on and said that the one thing every single top grower says is that your soil is the most important thing, so that is what I focused on. Without the proper soil, your giants will never reach their potential. So evidently it's all about the soil. I do not have a green thumb. I am not a gardener. Kind of wish I were, but never too late to try, right? And then a van driver was stopped for carrying an excessive amount of cheese. This is out of England. A van driver in England was pulled over after being found carrying an excessive amount of cheese. I didn't know this was a rule or a law. The policing unit out of England said that the vehicle was 41% over its weight limit, which makes sense right there, with 2,822 pounds more cheese than it was permitted to carry. Had nothing to do with the stench of the odor, which is what I thought it was leading to, but no. It is overweight, and some roads don't allow you to cross if you're past a certain weight level. And finally, to cap off, an elk attacks a woman trying to take a selfie in Missouri. This is an attempt to snap a selfie with an elk in a Missouri park. This ended with a woman being attacked by the animal in a caught on-camera incident. Photographer Kent Burgess said he was taking photos of the animals from a safe distance Sunday at Lone Elk Park in St. Louis County when he spotted a group of less cautious humans getting a bit too close to some of the elk. And as you can imagine, it could have been a lot worse than it was, so I'm glad that nobody was harmed there. So we have a lot of news, odd news, and believe it or not, none of those stories came out of Florida today, so we have that. Doesn't mean that next Wednesday we won't have a lot of news stories out of Florida, but we're Vaporwaves. I'm Justin. We have about 13 more minutes until the end of the show. We appreciate you listening in. Let's go ahead and play another one-hit wonder. Don't know another one-hit wonder. Ooh, I got a perfect one. Aha, I got a perfect one-hit wonder. And this is a quintessential 80s song, and I'm playing this very ironically because the higher-ups here at KUHS, they are, I wouldn't say that they're not fans of this song, but they've heard this song over and over and over and over. And this is just kind of an inside joke to them. So let's get a little Take On Me by Aha. They are a one-hit wonder band.